Bartholomew Town is brought to you in part by the University of Rhode Island Online, Navigant Credit Union, the Audubon Society of Rhode Island, Newport Film, and Half Street Group.
Bartholomew Town.
All right, one of the big stories right now, no doubt about it. I mean, it's actually a macro story when we talk about the industry as a whole, the film and television industry here in Rhode Island, that is. But look, we've got bridge problems here. We've got a healthcare crisis. We've got a housing crisis. We've got a political, who knows what type of election coming up in 2026. But all eyes right now in Rhode Island are on one thing, and that is the Real Housewives of Rhode Island. Admittedly, I've never seen an episode of this show. I actually had to pull a couple of clips the other day, and I was stunned that this thing is pretty popular. Steve Feinberg is the executive director of the Rhode Island Film and Television Office. He's led that office for over 20 years. And look, he's the guy behind the transferrable film tax credit that has brought a lot of major pictures, motion pictures, and television projects to Rhode Island. And Steven joins us here on Bartholomew Town to talk about the big news, the Real Housewives of Rhode Island. Thanks so much for your time, Steve.
Thanks, Bill. As I tell people, I may be the head of the Rhode Island Film and TV office, but I truly have a face for radio.
Nice. I hear that loud and clear. There's a reason why we're not doing this by camera today, and we'll leave that to the theater of the mind. All right, let's start. We'll get into the macro and your work in general, which is really impressive, but let's just get right to it. Let's not bury the lead. The Real Housewives of Rhode Island. What is it? When is it? And why is it?
So the Real Housewives of Rhode Island, it's part of the Bravo franchise. It's been, I think the very first one was the Real Housewives of Orange County, and then that became the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and New York and New Jersey and Potomac. And it's really, it's a whole new generation of reality television that's just caught on fire, and it hasn't stopped. The state of Rhode Island was up for it. We were like one of like 4 different places. There had been some buzz around Christmas time. Is it coming to Rhode Island? Is it not coming to Rhode Island? Obviously, I was in touch with the folks over at Bravo, NBC Universal, just to see where were we at. And they said, right now it's speculative because we are competing against some other states, and they had been looking at potential cast members. And these cast members are all real people. So I have to be careful saying cast members, but they're real people in real situations. And the buzz about Rhode Island around Christmas time that went across social media and on our local newscasts, etc., actually helped us. It helped propel us into a first place position. And then finally, we did get the word in our Rhode Island Film and TV office that Rhode Island was going to be the one selected. There would be an announcement in May. We worked with them that they would, put it out there, and then we had coordinated a press release, and here it is. So as far as cast members, though, we've been sworn to secrecy about who's going to be there, and it's going to be announced very shortly, I believe, who some of the folks are, the Real Housewives of Rhode Island.
Yeah, there's been a lot of speculation about this. I wonder if Twin River has an odds table set for this one, or any other backroom gambling facility, because that speculation, that has been a lot of the talk of the town. And look, admittedly, I've never seen a second of Real Housewives, but it's a household name and it's a major production. Do you think this is going to make the state look good, make it look funny? What's the upside to this? Like you said, it's real people's lives that are on display for the country and for the world here in Rhode Island. Give us the upside to anybody who doesn't really know the deal here.
So let's just start on the business side of things. So unlike a feature film or a TV show like a Gilded Age or Ellen McKay that we just filmed, James L. Brooks, these reality shows don't get any tax incentives, usually because the footprint of the production is relatively small in comparison to 300 full-time crew members and 1,200 extras and all that kind of stuff, and the amount of spend. So just to allay any concerns about tax credits and that kind of thing, that's not a part of this equation. However, this is a soap opera. I mean, it is what it is. It's a soap opera. Professional wrestling is, I like to say, is illusionary competition. It's essentially a soap opera.
Mm-hmm.
This is a soap opera. So there's that. And again, there's so many eyeballs, so much enthusiasm. Whether you like these people, hate these people, the bottom line is, are you entertained by these people? And are you going to have eyeballs on this TV show? Clearly, the answer is yes. Now, how does that help Rhode Island? When these folks go to a venue, whether it's Castle Hill or the Newport Mansion or Twin Oaks or someplace up on the hill or Castle Hill or the Coast Guard House, for example. Any of these places, they usually do a little postcard, couple of shots of the place and its beauty. They might show you the beautiful interiors. They'll show you the food. And it's where whatever scenes are going to take place, some kind of interaction between your characters. And it brings people to these places. It's a spotlight on it. I have to admit, that one of my, I forget what you call it, like a show that I really wouldn't tell people I watch, but I do.
Guilty pleasure, perhaps?
Guilty pleasure. I always forget that.
Some people say that about Bartholomew Town, I hear.
Yeah, there you go. So I have a guilty pleasure. My guilty pleasure is I watch Vanderpump Rules. Why do I watch that? I had to ask myself, why the hell am I watching this? And I realized I'm watching because they're beautiful women, so I'm attracted to them. And then I see some of the hot spots in LA and where people are going. So I lived in LA for 22 years. So I guess it kind of reconnects me to what's going on in LA. And so from afar, my fingertips are seeing LA. So I had to ask myself that. So the folks that are in LA or in the Midwest or the South or out of the country are going to get a taste of Rhode Island in our beautiful locations, all in close proximity. And they're going to want to come to Rhode Island just to maybe have some calamari, maybe to have some Dell's lemonade. They don't know what those things taste like. They don't know what quail hogs are like. So these are things that are essential to Rhode Island. Promoting it to a worldwide audience. They'll see the Newport mansions. I'm sure they'll see our beautiful beaches. They might go take a stroll around Garden City. This is all good for our venues, and it's popular. So again, you may not love the drama. You may not love these characters, but if you're entertained by them, then or you're not. Let's say you don't like it, then go watch The Gilded Age on HBO.
Yeah.
Go watch Hocus Pocus 2, or go watch Ellen McKay. That's going to be coming out around Christmas time.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in just a second because there are some major productions that have already been they're already wrapped. They took place here in Rhode Island. There's probably a lot more to come as well. And you've done an amazing job of spearheading Rhode Island's position as a look. I mean, is it Hollywood East? I don't know if we can go that far, but boy, is it an attractive location for a lot of reasons. Chief among them probably would be the tax incentives that are offered, and then also right behind that would be the dynamic topography and landscape that's available and the facilities that are here. We'll get into that in just a second, but staying with the Real Housewives of Rhode Island, there was some speculation that you were actually going to be among the Real Housewives. They're going to make an exception and put you in there. Can you put that rumor to bed right here, right now?
No, that's another show called American Gladiator.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Looking forward to that one as well.
I'll squash that speculation ASAP. I don't know if there's a housewife that has a beard and mustache. I don't think so.
Okay. Well, all of that is still to come. It's a coming attraction. And as they roll this thing out, more and more people will start to pay attention because then you'll start to know who the cast members are. And again, it's a big deal. I mean, look, it really is a big deal, like you said, from an attractiveness standpoint. It just puts Rhode Island on the map in a whole different way. And I don't think it does so in a mockery way. I think from what I can tell about this show, it's sort of like you said, it's a soap opera-esque, soap-operatic, we'll say. We'll maybe invent a word. Yes. Type of scenario that it's endearing. And it's a big deal for the 15th time. There it is.
And you know what the other thing is, Bill? So these are real people. And I found in some reality shows, they are dealing with real challenges. Like I forgot, there was a show, I believe it was from the New Jersey Housewives, where one of the wives was dealing with a child with autism. So it was able to dig deep into the realm of autism, what it's like to have a child, how to cope, what are some of the challenges medically, etc. So that there are opportunities there. I don't know what these episodes, how these will unfold over time, but you can find sometimes it might be a character that might be dealing, I don't want to say character, person who's dealing with alcoholism as an example. So whether or not you like these shows, they are real people, and sometimes there's an opportunity to educate an audience on something that maybe they wouldn't have been experienced or been exposed to. I remember there was a show called I forgot what it was called, but it was a show for MTV, and there was this kid named Pedro.
Oh, The Real World, yeah.
The Real World, right. The Real World. And it was Pedro, and he ended up having HIV and AIDS, and you like this kid. And it was exposure of what he was dealing with that was relatively new at the time. And you had sympathy and empathy and understanding of what he went to. He ended up passing away, but I remember that being a real exposure to that subject matter. So as much as could be entertaining and all, it also might educate in a unique way that people don't expect. Dare
we say edutainment as it comes forth, The Real Housewives of Rhode Island. Stay tuned. Who knows? Maybe if you're listening to this right now, it's your mother, or maybe it's your sister, or if you're listening to this, maybe your wife is the Real Housewife of Rhode Island.
Find out how Dell's is made. You never know.
And even more so, I want to know where what the cups are made of. There's nothing like the indentation of a human tooth into a Dell's cup while a pile of lemon sits at the floor. It's a joke I've been using way too often lately, but it is a true statement of Rhode Island. And speaking of a true statement of Rhode Island, look, I mean, the reality is that film and television, as it adapts into, we'll call it the streaming age, and we start to see production trends shifting. What's big, what's medium, what's indie, all of that is starting to shift. I mean, all of the ingredients that have been there since the dawn of Hollywood are still at play and are present. But it gives an opportunity for Rhode Island. And just give us a walkthrough of the work you've done on the film and the film tax credit. Because, look, this is something that when you talk to people in any industry, the bottom line is it's an industry. Even if Rhode Island was the most beautiful place in the world to shoot here, there's an incentive that comes from having that tax credit. Where did it come from, and how did you get it through?
Bartholomew Town.
Birds are disappearing from our landscape at a rapid pace. Over 1/3 of those breeding on Audubon Society of Rhode Island's wildlife refuges are in decline. Climate change has taken a toll on their migration, nesting, and food sources. While science is highlighting the problem, Audubon is working on real solutions with a plan to rapidly reduce their carbon emissions. The organization will be free of fossil fuels by 2030, with renewable energy powering Audubon's buildings, equipment, and vehicles. To shape our future, all of us must act. Learn more about repowering Audubon, their avian research, and how you can join their fight for climate resiliency. Visit asri.org/repower. Newport Film screens the latest, critically acclaimed documentary films year-round across Rhode Island. Like a film festival, Newport Film often gets early access to films before they're available online or in the theaters. Stay up to date on their latest screening events at newportfilm.com or on Instagram at newportfilm. Are you looking to advance in your career or explore a new field? The University of Rhode Island now offers a comprehensive portfolio of fully online programs designed to bring world-class education to you anytime, anywhere. Choose from a wide range of flexible, asynchronous programs in business and leadership, data, tech and STEM, healthcare and pharmacy, marine and environmental science, and more. With expert faculty and innovative courses, you'll gain the skills and knowledge to thrive in today's competitive world. Are you ready to take the next step? Visit uri.edu/online and discover how URI Online can help you achieve your goals. URI Online, learn anywhere with us. Half Street Group brings a new generation's perspective to leadership communication, strategic public relations, and digital marketing. Half Street helps organizations and leaders take control of their own stories and manage their reputations. They get results for their clients by focusing on audience message and culture and by leveraging their decade-long relationship with media and opinion leaders in the Ocean State and throughout New England. Join me and Half Street Group founder and president Mike Rea for a conversation every month about news of the day, the hottest media analysis, and a look behind the scenes at how impactful leaders drive conversations. Learn more at halfstreetgroup.com. As Rhode Island's first ever member-owned credit union, Navigant Credit Union has been a staple in the local business community for more than 108 years. Today, Navigant is a $3.4 billion institution serving more than 136,000 members across 25 physical branch locations. But since its founding in 1915, the mission has never changed. Navigant Credit Union's team of financial professionals have remained committed to improving the financial well-being of the families, businesses, and communities they serve across Rhode Island. Learn more at navigantcu.org.
So it started, I'm in the Writers Guild. I've been in the Writers Guild since 1987. And when I sold my first project to 20th Century Fox at that time. And there were films that were starting to be produced outside of the country, whether it was Australia or Canada, the UK. And so it was called, quote unquote, runaway production that was beginning to happen. And that was via incentives that were driving these films and TV shows through for financial reasons up to Canada or Australia or Luxembourg or the UK. One of the films that I did was a movie called Fortress with Christopher Lambert, and it also starred Kurtwood Smith, and we made that via a company called Village Roadshow. I originally sold it to 20th Century Fox. Village Roadshow ended up picking it up. They did The Matrix later on. And we did that in the Warner Studios in Australia. So I went to Australia for 3 months and we did it. Ended up getting nominated for a Saturn Award for Best Science Fiction Movie of that 1992. We lost to almost an unrecognizable, nobody knows about a movie called Jurassic Park that ended up winning that year. But we did go to Australia. And then we did a sequel of that movie for Columbia TriStar, and we did that in Luxembourg at a place called Carousel Studios. So we went outside the country because they had incentives, and then Canada had incentives. So when I was asked to come home to Rhode Island in 2004 to start a motion picture and television industry here, we really didn't have any productions here. Every once in a while, every 7 years or so, there might be a show like Providence, but Providence filmed for a week in Rhode Island, the rest was in LA. Or we might have a scene for True Lies, or I think the biggest film really was Meet Joe Black, and then before that might have been The Great Gatsby, which might have been 20 years apart. So my job was, I decided to share my idea of a state film tax incentive, if not the first in the United States, maybe second behind Louisiana. I think we were neck and neck with them. And what it is like a coupon. You come into Rhode Island, you spend X amount of dollars, you're going to get something back in a tax credit. It's an investment. It's an incentive. We found for every $1 we give in a tax credit returns $5.44 of economic activity. What's also happened is over this time, we now have, when we first started, it was a bunch of old white guys who had a little experience doing the Brotherhood pilot. And then that became 3 seasons of the Peabody Award-winning show Brotherhood for Showtime. Mm-hmm. And the crew started to get not just to be old white guys, it's now diversity, men, women of all colors and ages working on crew. When I started, we only had one college or university had a film or TV program. Now all of them, all the colleges and universities have film, TV, or media program. So we're excited about that. We've brought about $900 million of film and TV production to Rhode Island. That doesn't include all of the student films and very, very small independent films that have sprouted. So like Bill, if you're working on Hocus Pocus 2 and you're working on there for a year and you've got all this money saved up and you want to make your own movie, well, now you're able to make your own movie because you've, developed some relationships, you've saved up some capital, and so now you might get a movie made. Maybe it's a smaller budgeted film and doesn't meet the minimum threshold of $100,000 to get a tax credit. Someone's going to invest in you, but you still are going to get those experiences. So we're seeing more and more of that happening. The shows that we've done include, like I said, the Peabody Award-winning show Brotherhood. That was the first time a series filmed entirely in Rhode Island. We did Underdog for Walt Disney. We did Ellen McKay. We've done Body of Proof, the TV series with Dana Delaney and Jerry Ryan. We've done just a plethora of movies. Good Burger 2. You name it, we've done it. And right now we've got M. Night Shyamalan and Jake Gyllenhaal preparing for a supernatural movie that I've been friends with the producer for a while, and he does M. Night's movies, and we finally were able to bring him to Rhode Island. The Gilded Age is probably one of the proudest projects that I've been involved with. That took about 10 to 12 years of working like a dog on a bone to bring it to Rhode Island. My friend Bob Greenblatt, who had been the chairman of Showtime, he became the chairman of NBC, and he was the one who engaged Julian Fellows during the big heyday of Downton Abbey. And he said, I'd like you to do an American version called The Gilded Age. He engaged Julian Fellows, Lord Fellows, and then Bob went to HBO and took The Gilded Age with him to HBO, and now we're about to unveil the 3rd season, Emmy Award-winning show. That authenticity is super important, and it's having a very positive impact on the Newport Mansion. The Preservation Society of Newport, Trudy Cox, just touts how big it's had an effect, and they now have a $250 special HBO tour of Gilded Age tour of the mansions. So there's those kinds of sparks, and we're really excited. And Ellen McKay with Woody Harrelson and Jamie Lee Curtis, directed by James L. Brooks, who did Terms of Endearment, Broadcast News, As Good as It Gets, and executive produces The Simpsons. That movie has been moved as a distribution from September to December during the award season, and now will get a theatrical release. And they filmed primarily in Providence and at the State House, and it's a really great story. So my fingers are crossed for that.
It's interesting that this concept of tax incentives, I mean, it's nothing brand new. We certainly know that it exists here in Rhode Island. We have it's actually up for debate right now, but the yacht tax, so the yachts tax incentives, where basically you don't have to pay taxes if you park your yacht here in Rhode Island. That's helped to stimulate the maritime industry as a whole. But this strategy that you've utilized, it seems so effective for new media in general. and that is obviously inclusive of film and television. But I wonder what other industries, be it AI, be it anything in the tech space, anything in the new media space, what they can learn from you as far as building Rhode Island. Maybe again, not the singular place where an industry is happening, but a really good place for an industry to happen. From a people powered standpoint, from a tax incentive standpoint, from a landscape standpoint, all of this while Hasbro is basically ready to pack up and, well, we don't know for sure, but certainly seems like they're moving to Boston. We're in a moment where we need to recognize that which is working and kind of say, okay, if something's not working, we're already set to move on. So what can other industries learn from what you've accomplished over the last couple of decades?
Well, I think Rhode Island, because we're only 48 miles long and 40 miles wide, we're the perfect petri dish for business opportunities and making of a model. That's why when we started this tax incentive, I mean, it went across the country like wildfire. I'm looking on to my right of a Washington Post article, The Littlest State, Big Time Film Roll. We started this, and Massachusetts followed us, Connecticut. I mean, there's about 40 other states that basically took our language, and yeah, they might have expanded it all. It took me a good 6 months to write the language. That has also happened across the country. One of the things that we were talking about, was video games was a component of it, but then with the 38 studios, it kind of was. They didn't use our tax incentives. Then at the last minute they did. So it was an opportunity. They were trying to abuse something. As far as like Hasbro's concerned, when Brian Goldner was alive and well, and we had a good relationship, Brian understood, as did the Hassenfelds, obviously, of the power of Rhode Island and why it was important to be here, and the origin story of it, of the Hassenfeld brothers. I think that the Hasbro should stay here in Rhode Island, and I'm not speaking on behalf of the governor or speaker or senate president or Commerce Corporation, but I know that they've made an effort to keep Hasbro here. I think Hasbro should be here. I think that they have a footprint that's important, and they're like our Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Yeah, in the Dunkin' Donuts one-piece suit or whatever it was, the warm-up suit.
They're an important star. And we wish that more work could be done here that is made in Rhode Island centric. I think what their business model is changing. And again, why wouldn't you stay in a place that's 48 miles long, 40 miles wide, great education system? You've got a lot of wonderful people and we've got a dynamic workforce too, whether people realize it or not. And there's a lot of creativity. It's a creative capital, right? Providence is a creative capital. You've got your Brown is there. A lot of the folks that have gone on to like Pixar and all came out of Brown University, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So, and we've got folks at RISD. So, if they choose to leave Rhode Island, it's not because of this isn't a special place where things can get done. They must have some alternative reasons. Yeah,
and it's interesting. You mentioned their shifting business model. I mean, when you think of Hasbro, you think of toy manufacturing, Mr. Potato Head, WWF, wrestling figures in the early 90s, whatever. Now they're a new media company. I mean, they're really moving into film production, so to speak, media production, a lot of AI involved in that. And it would seem a great partnership for what you've already been producing.
I honestly think that they're actually more in film and TV by name. When Brian was the head of Hasbro, the CEO of Hasbro, they were quite immersed in film and TV production. Now it's more name of selling the use of the property, but I think now they're more in video gaming. I believe is more what they're involved with than actual film and TV production. Yes, we'll have the Hasbro logo, but I think that they're changing their direction, I believe.
Well, all of that being said, what we do know for a fact is that the Real Housewives of Rhode Island are coming. And, hey, I might actually have to watch an episode of this thing and see. I mean, I have my pick of who I would like to see on this thing. I'm sure none of the people I have in mind will be there. But nonetheless, buckle up, because Rhode Island is about to go global in a lane that, I mean, since Richard Hatch won Survivor, nobody has really been talking about Rhode Island in reality television. But, hey, Stephen Feinberg, you've been a master at this, and you're a hero to this state. A lot of people probably don't realize how much has gone into this project of yours and the industry that you've shaped around it, and those economic development numbers, over $5 in return on every dollar invested in tax incentives. You're not going to find that type of return in pretty much anywhere. So huge stuff, and good luck. And if you do get called up, you've put the rumor to bed. But if you do get called up and you end up filling in for somebody as a Real Housewife, congratulations on being the first bearded member of the cast.
Well, thank you, Bill. I think if anybody's going to get a close-up, it's going to be you. And I want to thank you for your wonderful voice and educating us, and your beautiful music. I heard you play at the Newport Film Festival. That was awesome. And we look forward to many more adventures ahead.
Likewise. Thanks so much.
Thanks, pal.
Hey, thanks for stopping by Bartholomew Town. For more content, follow me on Instagram @Bill Bartholomew.